Welcome back. This is the Society Podcast. I'm Isaiah.
I'm Pastor Levi.
And today we're going to be talking about accountability. So, Pastor Levi, can you tell us what is accountability and kind of why we need it and how that affects us as younger people?
Yeah. Accountability is a really fancy word just for responsibility, having responsibility for your actions and the things that you say and the things that you do. And really from a young age, we're taught responsibility. Hopefully for the most part, you learn when you do something, there's a consequence to that something you do. You touch the hot stove, you burn your hand, you do something your mom says you shouldn't, and you have to answer to her. And so the Bible talks about giving an account for our life, that we'll stand before God and give an account for our life, which is kind of that ultimate accountability. But I think it's important and necessary to have accountability in everyday life for the things that we're doing and the places that we're going, that we have people in place that ultimately will hold us responsible for the things that we're doing. Because sometimes there are things that you can be doing, things that you can be listening to and watching and saying that maybe there's no consequences from a person, right? But there are spiritual consequences, emotional consequences, mental consequences. And so it's important that we have somebody in place that will help hold us responsible for those things and keep us responsible in making decisions in our life and doing things. And ultimately that we would give an account of where we're at, an honest account, right? Not just yeah, I'm good. Because sometimes we do that. We're yeah, I'm good. But an honest, here's where I'm at. Here's what I'm struggling with. Here's what I'm learning. Here's what's just other people in my life. Here's what I'm bringing on. Here's what I'm, whatever it is, just having that person or those people, multiple people, not just one person, but multiple people that you can kind of have some accountability with. I think it's very important, super necessary.
Absolutely. So how do you find your accountability partner? How do you seek that out, and how many should you have? Should it be someone older? Should it be a peer? Should you have both? What is the right way to approach that when you're trying to be held responsible for, like you said, the things you look at, the things you watch, and how that affects you?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing in finding an accountability partner, a big part of it is that they would help you be accountable for your actions and ultimately in a spiritual way. I think you can have people that will help guide you, especially if you're in a profession or pursuing a career that people have already kind of done that and learned that, those leadership skills and those giftings and those abilities, those things are great and those things are awesome. But from a spiritual sense, from a spiritual aspect, that you would look for people that aren't necessarily like-minded, because sometimes we get around people that are like us and they don't challenge us. The problem is we want, and it's okay, you click with people, you vibe with people, and it's important to have people that you can have fellowship with, have fun with, do life with, and have life abundantly with. But so many times our circle is so like us and so like-minded that we are not challenged by their life. We are not challenged by the things that they have, because they possess the same qualities, characteristics, and things that we do. And so it's important when you're looking for accountability that sometimes you maybe step out a little bit out of comfort and find somebody that maybe is a little different minded than you, that is going to challenge your life, things that they do. I have a friend in my life. He is incredibly generous, incredibly generous. And there are so many testimonies in his life of him giving and God just continuing to bless him and open up crazy, amazing doors. Me, on the other hand, I'm a little bit more stingy, a little bit more reserved. And so being able to have fellowship with him, see his life, and it wasn't always verbal, right, that he would talk to me, but just the way that he lived generously challenged me. And so you can have accountability that way, but I think even further, you have to be intentional for sure in terms of looking for somebody and having those hard conversations. I think peer accountability is important. We should keep each other accountable. It's almost like if I tell you, hey, Isaiah, I love you so much, I care about you, you're awesome, you're my friend, you're this, you're that, and I see you on the side of the road choking and dying, and I don't stop to help you or warn you or whatever. It's do I really love you? Do I really care about you like I'm saying? And so in the same way, when we have people in our life, friends, even ourselves, that we're making decisions that can be harmful, that are hurting other relationships, hurting other people, we need people to step up and say something. The Bible says faithful are the wounds of a friend, right? And sometimes it's the things you don't want to hear. you're like, you don't really want to hear it in that season, at that time, but you need to hear it in that moment. And so having peer accountability is important, but even accountability, kind of a mentorship accountability, somebody that may be older, that may be wiser, has experienced life more, has experienced different things in a greater sense, that can pour into you, and you can, in return, kind of pour out where you're at and the things that you're doing. And it has to be intentional, because the mentor can only go so far, right? The mentor can only do so much, and it's kind of on the mentee in a way to get themselves in a position to receive that accountability, because the mentor can be there and can speak into your life and can be available for you. But if you are not making yourself available and putting yourself in a place, in a space to be honest and open and ask for wisdom and counsel, then you'll miss the whole point and miss out on what that relationship and that mentorship can really be. So I think those are important in terms of like looking, especially when you're looking for a mentor, looking for somebody that maybe you admire, that you honor, that is living a lifestyle that you go, that's the type of life that I want to live. That's the type of legacy that I want to leave. And you connect with that person and you link up with that person.
I agree with that. I think that probably the most important step in accountability is acknowledging that you need it at all.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that a lot of younger people struggle with, because you don't want to admit that you have a problem. And it's not even, like this life devastating problem or something that's hurting you like immensely, but it's just the little things that really build up over time. Mm-hmm. And when you have that accountability, you see the problem because someone else is showing it to you. And I think that that's really valuable. So how do you think, if I'm going to become an accountability partner, how can I be a good accountability partner? How should I reach out? How should I approach it? If I am going to try to hold my friends accountable in that sense and challenge them.
Right. I think the biggest thing, if you're looking to help bring accountability to people, is just looking at the life of Jesus and the life of the disciples. Jesus embodied love, Jesus embodied grace, but Jesus also embodied truth, right? And so I think it's important to have balance when you are helping to bring accountability to people, that you have love and that you have grace, understanding that we're all sinful and we all fall short of God's standard and God's glory, and there are seasons of our life sometimes where things get a little messy and things get a little mushy. And so allowing for grace and compassion to help move us to support and come alongside that person or that friend, but also having enough courage and enough boldness to speak truth, right? Because sometimes the truth that they need to hear is going to be, like I said, the truth that they maybe don't want to hear in that season. But it's important that we can have that balance. So then when we do give them the truth, they understand, though, I'm here fighting for you. This is the truth of the matter. This is what you need to let go of. This is where your life is headed. These are the decisions you're making. This is how this is affecting you. Like you said, the little things that add up. It's the little things that we sometimes miss or forget about that create these patterns in our life. And so being able to honestly just assess that person and from a spirit of love, I'm here for you. I want to help you. I want to support you. I'm fighting for you. I'm praying for you. Not just like telling them like, okay, your life is screwed up. I hope you get it together, and just like leaving them to it. But honestly, laying down your life and maybe your agenda sometimes to practically help them, right? Practically get with them at a time to meet. Okay, how'd you do this week? How's it going? Or whatever. Just being able to be available for that person. That's important when it comes to accountability. Those things really, really matter and really make a difference in somebody's life.
I think that one of the key parts that you kind of brought up there was reaching out to them in a timely way and kind of helping them practically. But I think that the most important step before that would have to be their acknowledgement, right? Because I wouldn't be open to one of my friends trying to hold me accountable if I didn't ask them to hold me accountable. Yeah. And I think that a lot of people won't ask for that, but that you just have to be there to support them. And that if you are going to become their accountability partner, it can be in small ways. It can be in things that if they said they wanted to stop doing something and you remind them that they said that, or that, to help them in the smallest ways if they didn't ask you to do that. Mm-hmm. So hold your friends accountable. That kind of reminds me, though, the Friends is being taken off of Netflix.
I am literally crushed. Like, they're taking all the good shows off of Netflix, and Friends is just so beautiful.
They paid hundreds of millions of dollars, like The Office. So
they've got a diamond. That
true,
show is literally It's everything, and it's beautiful. I mean, even in that show, obviously, there's some things and whatever, but ultimately, a group of people who know one another, are transparent with one another, encourage one another, let one another know, like, yo, you're like Ross. He's always telling stories about dinosaurs and, just whatever. Like, okay, we're not as smart as you. We still love you. We know that that's your thing, but maybe tone it down. So it's really an awesome thing as we're talking about accountability. And like you said, just being available for somebody and being open to somebody. Again, and you don't want to strangle somebody into accountability, right? Because they have to be open to it. They have to be ready and willing to receive that accountability. And at the end of the day, just being ready to give that encouragement, give that support, give that love, give that truth, whatever it might be. But yeah, I really do love that show. So yeah.
Wow, he was able to bring that message through the show of Friends. All right, thank you for tuning in. Tune in next week where we talk about more subjects.
Love
we
y'all.
have to really start planning.
Yeah.
But thank you.